The LittleBigPlanet games have some of the most iconic introductions in the whole of gaming community, especially for PlayStation fans. The intro songs and the immediate charm that the games give you is something few games can ever hope to match. They say that all great games have incredible openings, so today we are going to be seeing if that's true for this massive franchise, with over 10 games and hundreds of DLCs. So buckle up, take a seat, and enjoy my ranking of all the introductions from LittleBigPlanet, from the worst to the absolute best, excluding mobile games as they have no opening levels. Out of all the opening levels from the franchise, the weakest entry must be the introduction level from Saguy Prehistoric Moves. This level introduces you to the new mechanic of controlling and moving things using the Move controller from PlayStation. Unlike other games, this one does not try to teach you how to do the basic stuff, because somehow it thinks you know it. So there is no dressing and moving your sack person tutorials in this one. To me, it always felt like a marketing strategy just to fuel the Move controller sales, probably because that's what it was. And to be fair, the game is kind of like a DLC more than an actual fully fledged game. Anyways, the level in itself is nice, but just as I said, it is no match for the other entries on this list. The music and everything in the level is mostly very medium. Another weak entry is the introduction of LittleBigPlanet Karting, the 3D racing game of the franchise. Don't get me wrong, this one does what it's supposed to do very well, as it teaches you everything you need to know, but it's just that the visuals and the vibes of LittleBigPlanet are not there as much as should have been. The level feels very empty and lifeless, and compared to the likes of the main games, this one falls very flat and it's very disappointing. Still, the reason why it's ranked higher than the opening level of Saguy Prehistoric Moves is because it is unique and at least serves as a good entry to the LittleBigPlanet games. The use of Left On Bank 2 music from the first game make this one also a bit better. Now this one is a great entry in my opinion, but just falls in comparison with the later entries. The LittleBigPlanet PSP has everything you would want from an opening level. From the great tutorials to the LittleBigPlanet charm and aesthetic that definitely missed in the previous games, the strongest part of the entire level, and actually the most fun part about it, is the music. The use of Dreamer Orbs in this one makes it an instant classic, and to be honest, it makes it so much better. It makes up for the lack of details and the simplistic design the level has. The fun part about it, but also the sad part, is that this is the only game that features the Dreamer Orbs music in an actual level. You can even collect it and use it yourself in your own creations afterward. The visuals are good and the gameplay is very straightforward. Overall, it's a nice introduction to a nice game. I know this might be controversial, but coming up at the 5th spot is the intro level from the very first LittleBigPlanet. Now, before you rage, hear me out. The level is great and all, but compared to the other ones, it's not something that amazing. The music is amazing and the tutorials here are great, but the visual part is what pulls this level down in my opinion. The level is very bland and unlike LittleBigPlanet PSP, this game could have done something even better since it is a console game and not a handheld one. Nonetheless, the level is great as it features some of the most meme-worthy moments, such as the Jiggy Sackboy. Still, because of the reasons I mentioned earlier, this one has to stay at this place. At number 4, just outside of the top 3 best opening levels, is the introduction to Sackboy Big Adventure. I still remember being absolutely amazed at how great this level was. The 3D atmosphere and the great visuals made it an instant classic for me. The way the world looked so big compared to the previous game was what made this one stand out as much as it did. It set the mood perfectly for the later levels, and the game mechanics were explained very efficiently. The soundtrack is also a big part of what made this level so great, and also the increased quality definitely helped. Overall, it is an amazing entry. The introduction of LittleBigPlanet Vita is most definitely one of the vibiest levels of LittleBigPlanet ever. The way Tarsier Studios made this introduction feel so charming and how it looked like one of those games that have only draws and shadows was so great. The tutorials here are very well made and the level design is top tier. Everything feels so alive and at the same time so eerie, just like the entire game is. It does what it needs to do and so much more. Also, the suspense when you meet Colonel Flounder and the anticipation that it builds up for setting up the story of the puppeteer makes it so enjoyable. It's an amazing experience as I still recall it one of the best intros to a game on Vita. Even though the music is not a standout, the other parts more than make up for it. At the second place, losing to none other than LittleBigPlanet 2 is the introduction of LittleBigPlanet 3. I don't even know when to start to describe this level. This one not only holds a special place for me, but it also makes me remember the good times of the game. The level design is amazing, and the tease of the characters and the new features of the game make it such a great intro that makes you hyped for the game. The colorful details mixed with the Vita's vibes plus the similarities with the previous main games make this one very special. The music is great, and overall I think it's one of the most fleshed out introductions of the franchise. And at the first place, as always, is LittleBigPlanet 2. The amount of greatness this one level holds is simply amazing. It truly shows the difference and how much the game changed from the first one, while still being somehow the same. The great visuals with no more logic popping everywhere and the advanced technology from the level set up the game's premise really well. It truly introduced you to the idea that now LittleBigPlanet is more than just a platformer creator, but a game creator. The version of Left On Bank 2 used in this level is definitely my favorite. The instant nostalgia that it brings is just great. The introduction of cutscenes, sackbots, and everything else made this one so special. The tutorials are iconic, and to date, it is my favorite opening level of all time. So that was all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did while making it. If you liked it, then consider subscribing as it will help the channel's growth a lot. Thank you all for your support and see you in my next video, which if nothing changes will be an absolute banger. See you next time.